Okay, so this is what you get in your Eco Stoves Australia bag with the camp cooker. I'm going to show you what's inside and how we put it together. So we have all these flat bits. Now the first time you get your camp cooker, this won't be folded, that's up to you, and that's easily folded with a pair of pliers. I happen to have a pair right here. So this will be a flat piece and you just use the pliers to adjust these tabs. You want these down and the side tabs up. Either you can do it with pliers or multi grips, that kind of tool, or if you've got a vise, that makes it very easy. I've cracked the vise to about the gap I want. I'm going to line it up so it's right on those holes and sideways, and see, I'm just going to push down and that just puts that crease like so. Just come to the other side, line up the holes and push down. I'm doing this one-handed, so I'm a little bit clumsy with it, but there we go. That's what we're looking for. And then these ones, so just call it that one, but that'll come down with a finger. Got the vise there, just put those in the vise, fold the other way, and same with that one, fold the other way. Alright, everything else is flat and stays flat, and we have two tools. We have our 3 pieces of pot holder, small pot holder, 6 pieces of Windbreak, 3 pieces of large pot holder. I'll just lay all these things out. 6 pieces of the stove side panel, 2 pieces of the toaster. They will sit like so. Do that last, and the base plate. Right, so that goes in the bottom of the hexagonal stove section. Now you can see I've got one already here, well and truly run in. So that's what it looks like assembled, with the large pot holder, Windbreak and the toaster on top. So now we're just going to assemble this to make it look like that. Start with the 6 pieces that look like this. One of them has a hole in the middle, a cutout, and the other 5 pieces are exactly the same. Leave this one till last and choose a direction, and it'll make sense later, but you choose a direction in terms of which way the tab's going to face, because the inside is going to get black and sooty and the outside will stay less black and sooty, and it will make sense when we slot them together why we do that. So I'm going to do it with the tabs on my right hand side. So I'm not sure how that looks to you, but for me, I've got the slots on my left, that's the slot, and that's the tab. Take one, slot in the first piece, or the second, I should say, second and third. So I've got 3 pieces. Now see how the angle, you can see it's how it's not quite going to, it's a little bit tight for a hexagon, right? And we know because a hexagon is this shape, and that's going to be a little bit tight. That's normal, that's how it should be when you first get it, and we're just going to just gently tease that open. What's that doing? What that is doing is making little micro bends, small bends on the tabs and slots to adjust, and it will give a certain amount of tension, which is what we want. So don't overstretch it. You can use the base plate as a guide. Basically stretch it out so that it matches 3 of those 6 sides, more or less, or just slightly under. Get the 4th piece, whoops, and just line it up, slot it in. Again, see how it doesn't quite, I want to just fold that out so it becomes, those 2 sides, number 1 and 4, should be parallel to each other, and you'll see that they should match up with the base plate. Once you've got 4 pieces together, we're actually going to put the base plate in there. Or no, actually, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put all 6 sides together. The first time we're putting this together, we put all 6 in just to do that stretching. So I'm just going to stretch that one in, and then I usually do this one last, and it will make sense why. One with a hole on the inside. You see how I'm resting it on the table? It's a little bit easier that way, and I'm just going to make sure slots are in, give it a little stretch, because when I do this last one, the hole lets me put my fingers inside, which just helps with the lining up of the tabs. So I can get that top one. I'm just going to do a little stretch. Right, a little stretch. Just get both hands into it. Get those tabs into those slots. Like I said, it's a little bit stiff the first time. There it goes. Okay. And make it hexagonal. Right? If it's a little bit out of shape, just adjust the angles so that they become more or less equal. We want them to be equal, because this plate is going to go in there, but to get it in there we're going to have to open it up again, and this time now I've got it upside down. I've taken 2 panels out, I put in the base plate, and I'm just lining, it's got tabs that line up there. So I've got 4 sides and the base plate in, holding it upside down. Keep the one with the hole for last, and get the tabs. That's slotted in very easily like so. Okay, and then this last one with the hole, which just makes it a little bit easier, put the tabs the right way around. I usually start with the I put the tabs on the inside edge, get the slots, and just because I'm trying to show it to the camera, I'm a little bit there. So I've just pushed those in, and then I just wriggle this around and then do those tabs into those slots there. And see how I've got my finger in that hole just to get that middle one, and then just push them all in, and that's it. So the first time it is a little bit of a jiggle just to get all of the tabs to just kind of adjust to the slots, but once you've done it once it'll get much easier and simpler, because then, and especially if, now this is where it's important to remember the direction that the tabs are facing when you put it together. If you find that it gets too loose after a lot of use, simply reverse the direction of those tabs, and it will be the micro bend will be facing the opposite way, and it'll again be stiff. So that way you can always keep the unit nice and tight. Okay, that literally is the hardest part of the whole process. And then if I was just going to make a quick cup of coffee, I usually just use the small pot holder, and you see how those 3 pieces just slot together. The one piece that's got holes in the end, that's the piece that you use to lift it by, because that's the piece with the support at the bottom. These other 2 will then pop out, right? That just drops in on top, and you can put small pots on top. The reason I use this, you can actually put a pot straight on here. You don't even need to use this if the pot is big enough. This is for smaller pots. And then if you've got a bigger pot and you want a bit more support, start with the one that's got the connection at the bottom, then the one with the connection in the middle, and then the one with the connection at the top, in that sequence. Again, the piece that's got the holes on the edge is the one you lift it by. Drop that on top, and then, okay, put a large pot straight on there, like your frying pan, for example. If it's a windy day, what often happens with a fire-based or any kind of outdoor cooking is the wind can blow a lot of the heat away. And so to help trap some of the heat, we've got the Windbreak. It's exactly the same principle, 6 pieces, very simple. Again, I'm putting the tab on my right hand side, slot to the left, and I'm just sitting it on the base as I do it. This one is very simple to put together. You just come all the way around, and whoops, with it resting on the surface, close that the loop like so, and the tension holds it all together. And you see it's got little slots here. Those little slots there line up with the slots on this one, and that's now a very stable situation. So you could have a pot sitting inside here, down onto the, obviously if it's small enough or the right size, and that will create a windshield. And then the toaster, you get two pieces, flip them over like that. This gives you 4 height adjustments for the toaster. So you can rotate around to 4 different positions. And you could also put a pot on there. The higher the toaster is set, the less heat is going to the base of the pot. So if you're simmering something and you wanted to have a bit more space between the fire and the pot, put the toaster rack right up high. Or if you're actually making toast and you want to do it slowly, for example. So there's 4 positions for the toaster. Once it's all fired up, of course, this gets hot. So if you wanted to take this off and didn't want to burn your fingers, the tools are really helpful. Put them in opposite directions, twist to lock, or actually I might twist to lock with the nose facing up, and then lift. And you see how you can lift it with and control it with stability. See the other side, right? So that way, so I'm coming in from opposite directions, twisting it up, and that gives me great stability to then position that. Exactly the same principle with this guy. So you see, if I just come from the same side, see how that will wobble a little bit. But if I come from opposite sides, twist and lock, I can actually hold that really quite stably. And there you have it. That's the Eco Stoves Camp Cooker. Oh, sorry, last piece. So this is the stick feeder, and on this version, this was an earlier prototype. It's got 2 slots. I've actually decided to reduce that down to 1 slot because I've worked out which is the optimum angle. But in this model, you can choose 2 different angles. But don't worry about that because I've done away with it. But you see how it just feeds, just kind of twist it to the side, get it in, lock it down, and it just supports itself. And that way you can just feed the sticks in, and the sticks will just sit in like so. And then as you're burning the wood, you'll just kind of poke the wood in there. There you have it. That's the Eco Stoves Camp Cooker.